So maybe you feel like your smart home is stuck as a bunch of different devices that don't talk to each other, or you're just trying to figure out what's the next upgrade you should do to your smart home, and how do you make the right decisions to avoid problems today and in the future? Well, those are the questions I ask myself all the time about my smart home, and I think it can really help to break down the evolution of your smart home into 3 distinct phases. And we'll talk about each phase, some of the problems and things you want to consider and avoid, as well as how to not be stuck in that phase and how to move on to the next great upgrades to make your smart home truly smart. And thanks to UGREEN for sponsoring today's video. More on them in a minute. So phase 1 of your smart home is really what I call the discovery phase. And this is where you're just collecting bits and pieces of smart tech in your home that you might already have gotten with your place, let's say like a smart thermostat, or things you might add one by one. So maybe a smart doorbell, or some smart lighting for the dining room, or a smart soundbar for the living room, maybe a robot vacuum to clean up the messes in the kitchen. And the benefit in this phase is really just being able to control so much stuff in your home right from your smartphone. So you can be sitting on your couch and adjust your temperature, trigger your robot vacuum, and make sure the garage door is closed, all without having to leave your couch, or while you're in bed going to sleep, have that peace of mind that your front door is locked from your smart lock. And all that's great, but if you're not careful, you can quickly find yourself stuck in this phase if you don't consider what platforms these devices support. So you don't really have to worry about doing lots of smart home automation in this phase or putting all the things together, but what you want to pay attention to are labels on the boxes and the web pages for these products to know, does it support things like Matter, which is a universal standard across a lot of different smart home devices. And if you see the Matter label on a box, then it generally means it will work with your smart home tech stack. If you're like me and you use an iPhone, I think you should really pay attention to what products are listed as either compatible with Matter and or compatible with Apple Home. If you're into Android, look out for works with Google Home. And if you just like Amazon products, you can watch out for their labels as well. Keep this in mind the next time you see a Ring doorbell on sale, and realize that it's never, ever going to work with Apple Home. And maybe you want to choose something else like the Aqara G400 for your doorbell. But I think a great device to consider at really any phase of your smart home is today's sponsor. UGREEN's DXP4800 GT is a powerful network-attached storage device that can also serve as a super hub for your smart home with up to 144 terabytes of storage space. It can run Home Assistant to control your smart home using Docker, which we'll talk about more later in the video. This puts a powerful smart home hub right inside your NAS. And that way you have one less box to manage in your smart home. With UGREEN's Surveillance Center app, the DXP4800 GT can serve as your network video recorder for smart home cameras with ONVIF or RTSP protocols. You can pull together cameras you might already have and mix and match them with new ones from different companies to cover the perimeter of your property with continuous video recording and no subscription fee needed. You can access and play back the video streaming through a PC, laptop, phone, anytime, anywhere. You can also set up custom detection and recording settings for each camera. Another thing I've been getting into is the UGREEN Theater app as the ultimate home movie library for our kids. The UGREEN DXP4800 GT has plenty of horsepower to do this as well. And the dual 10 gigabit per second Ethernet ports mean it won't ever be close to running out of bandwidth for multiple video streams. Whether it's family photos for a day out or a video shoot as a creator, I also love the built-in memory card feature as an easy way to get a backup. Losing recordings from a memory card corruption is the worst, and the more ways I can protect against that, the better. Speaking of backup, the DXP4800 GT can serve as a time machine backup destination for all your Macs. As we talk about phases 2 and 3 of your smart home, I think you'll see how the UGREEN DXP4800 GT has the key pieces to take your smart home to the next level. Check out the link at the top of the description to get a discount. So at some point along the way of what I call the discovery phase, you'll end up getting a smart speaker. And that sets up the foundation to move into phase 2, the integration phase, because you'll probably start tying some of your other smart home devices into that smart home system so that you can talk to your smart speaker and get it to do stuff for you. And if you're still trying to figure out which smart speaker to get, just because you have a smart home speaker and a handful of devices tied into it doesn't mean that you really have a lot of your smart home integrated. So I think there's a few key things you should focus on and get ready for phase 3. So you don't get stuck in just having a handful of devices you remote control from your phone and maybe a smart speaker. And one of those is adding buttons and sensors to your home. See, sensors give you ideas about the state of your home, which can help for those basic automations like opening the closet door and having the closet lights turn on for, let's say, 15 minutes after the closet opens, and then closing the door turns off the lights. Another nice one, if you have more of, like, say, a walk-in closet or some other area in your home that's kind of distinct, is adding a millimeter wave presence sensor to that. So when you go into that area, the lights turn on, and then when you leave, the lights turn off. I also think a key thing here, which is easier to set up than sensors, is just adding smart buttons around the wall at the entrance to every room in your home. And I'm actually working on an app to make this easier, and I'll leave a link to details about that in the description. But having a button at the entrance to a room just gives you the option to add in all kinds of smart controls that's way smarter than a typical light switch. You can, of course, control the lights, but what about making them dimmer later in the day? Or what about triggering other kinds of things with maybe a double tap of that button? And this also highlights something which is in the integration phase, I really think is important to build out the smart lighting support across most rooms in your home. You're then able to get all the lights in a particular room to be smart. And that can really unlock a lot of powerful automations, because you can just get all the lights to go on in a particular color and brightness and details that just set the scene right away. And it's so nice, not only there, but also having something like a good night scene. So you open up Apple Home, you hit the good night scene button that you've set up, or you can easily add that to something like Control Center. And then as you're going to bed, all the lights in the house turn off. You don't have to remember or think about, oh, did I turn that light off downstairs? It's just taken care of for you. And of course, you could run that on a schedule as well, but sometimes you're up late watching an exciting YouTube video instead of going to sleep, which, stay awake. We have a lot more to talk about. There are a lot of people who are completely happy with the level of automation you get with something like Apple Home, and they don't feel a need to move on to a more advanced stage. And that's completely fine if that's you. Just realize there is another level of smart home tech out there that you're missing out on. And maybe you've run up against this wall where you're trying to add lots of conditional automations to things like, let's say, a motion or presence sensor of, oh, when it's here and for a certain amount of time, and details about the conditions that just stack up, and it gets possible sometimes with Apple Home, but also very complicated. The other side of it too is you often hit walls where you can't have global variables, where your home enters a mode like away mode. That's kind of easy to fake in certain cases, but what about laundry is running mode or kid is napping mode? And so you can turn on these modes. You're saving this value of true or false or whatever else, and that applies to all your automations across your home. And all this really gets into phase 3, which I call the automation phase. And this is where your smart home really becomes smart. And you also start to gain a lot of flexibility that might allow you to bring in some of those devices you left behind in the integration phase, because adding in a platform like Home Assistant or Homey to your smart home then means you can control a lot of those devices inside of one of those ecosystems. Also, before you throw Apple Home or Google Home or whatever out the window, a lot of times there are ways for these smart home hubs to serve as bridges into these other systems. So for example, I can add a Home Assistant box or a Homey box into Apple Home as what's called a bridge. And so then Apple Home will see whatever accessories I choose to expose to Apple Home from these devices, and then treat them just like any other device in your Apple Home. So you'll still get all the options for automations and scenes and other stuff in Apple Home. And a lot of people in your family can still control the smart home the way they've always done it through something like Apple Home and other shortcuts or things on their Apple devices, not to mention things like buttons on the wall. Now, the one downside of this migration is that in some cases, you'll have to remove the device from Apple Home and then add it into Home Assistant to then get it exposed into Apple Home. But there are certain tricks like Matter multi-admin, which means if you got some of those Matter devices we talked about in phase 1, then you can do something called multi-admin, or what Apple calls a pairing mode. And then you can use that to additionally add this device into Home Assistant or Homey. And my other word of caution here is just that Home Assistant and Homey can be very advanced platforms. And you'll often hear stories online of people slamming their head against the wall, trying to use one or the other, especially Home Assistant, and hitting problems. And there's two things I want to say on that. One is that I think Home Assistant and Homey have both gotten a lot more advanced in their software over the years and a lot more stable, and that's great. And that really helps with a lot of the technical challenges there. But if you just skip over phase 1 and phase 2 and go straight to installing Home Assistant or Homey, you're going to be asking your favorite LLM du jour a lot of questions about how do I set this up? How do I configure this? And just a whole lot to learn all at once, which might be daunting and you might hit a lot of roadblocks. So I think for a lot of people, going into it with taking a handful of devices and integrating those into some easier to use smart home platform is a great way to get started. And then just realize that down the road, as you get more comfortable with that, you can start to move into something like Home Assistant. And then by doing that, you'll also know what you want. And you'll also have a better idea of how to build out those automations with all those extra conditions that you then have the capability to use in Home Assistant or Homey, if that's the direction you want to go. Now, one of the other cool things you can build out in phase 3 of your smart home that we didn't really talk about much in this video, and that's customized dashboards that you can build out with either Home Assistant or Homey. Now, of course, Home Assistant versus Homey is a topic really for another video, but this video I made earlier this year shows how I built out a really cool mounted iPad that has a nice Homey dashboard on it, along with a number of other upgrades I made to my smart home back in the spring. So thanks again so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.